Hello, hello. Welcome in. This is the Bitcoin Escape Hatch, a Bitcoin only education channel where the signals, information, and the outcome is financial freedom. Today's show is brought to you by coffee. My mission here is simple. It's to break down the walls of Bitcoin that feel like a lot when you're first learning about it or when you're continuing your education about learning about Bitcoin. Today, we're going to talk about something essential for anyone dipping their toes into Bitcoin or even seasoned holders. And that's just a simple list of top 10 best practices for buying, holding, and OPSEC, which is your operational security when holding your own keys, which is the most important part. Remember, as always, what I love to say on this channel, if you're going to buy Bitcoin, make sure you send it to cold storage. And we're going to cover a few of those topics and best practices for that in this video. But I hope you've checked out other places like BTC Sessions, where it's an actual tutorial on how to send your funds from an exchange or buying directly from an exchange to your cold storage. So without further ado, let's get into it. So for those of you who are ready to level up, maybe you've got your stack, like I was saying, and you're thinking long-term inheritance, or you want to have like a safety planning in case anything happens to you, just as that extra layer of protection when your paranoia level starts to go off, especially when you're holding your first keys or sending your first transaction. I've got a few bonus practices at the end, and these are a little more advanced but practical tips to draw from, which you'll hear in the Bitcoin community, the Bitcoin Maxi community. And I'd just like to say, although Bitcoin maxis have a reputation for being toxic, if a Bitcoin maxi is not telling you to send your Bitcoin to cold storage, they are not a maxi. And that is my personal opinion. Anyways, we're going to talk about multisig setups, inheritance planning, air gap extras, and more robust privacy tools. Like I was saying, this is not for everyone starting out. If you are still new, you have a few $100 on an exchange, a hot wallet, that is okay for now. But the best practice is send it to cold storage. And as your holdings grow, as your stack grows, this list will help you turn your practices into good security for your wealth. And that's what it means to be financially sovereign. As we get into the top 10 list, going to keep it focused and actionable. A few analogies thrown in there. Hopefully they help. We've all seen and heard people who jump into Bitcoin all excited, only to get burned by hacks, scams, staking, and yield, which you should never, ever, ever do, or simple mistakes because they skipped the basics. Today, we're going to change all that. And if you're here and you just so happen to have your Bitcoin on an exchange, or you're planning to buy Bitcoin and you're just wanting to build out your knowledge on what to do with it, you're in the right place. I boiled them down to a solid list that prioritizes good habits, cold storage for long-term safety, and strong OPSECs, your operational security to keep your privacy intact. We'll also cover why these topics matter in 2026. It's volatile out there, and how to implement them step by step, common pitfalls to avoid, and why building these habits now can make your Bitcoin a true escape hatch from financial uncertainty. And like I said, if you're planning to have your stack as inheritance, this will also help. This is going to be a little long. Grab a coffee, settle in. I'm glad you're here, and let's get into it. Let's start at the very beginning. Why bother with best practices when buying Bitcoin? Bitcoin isn't just digital gold. It's a decentralized system where you are your own bank, and really keep that in mind. This means no bailouts if things go wrong. Your security is on you, and you should take it seriously and see it as another level of responsibility that you need to take on, because we've been outsourcing our financial security and all of our money that we trade our very valuable time for to banks since their inception, and they've been taking advantage of it for a very long time. In 2026, with hacks hitting exchanges left and right and scams evolving faster than ever, skipping these steps is like leaving your front door unlocked in a sketchy neighborhood. Think of Bitcoin as a high-stakes treasure chest. The chest itself is the blockchain. It's unhackable. But the key, which is your private keys, is what hackers want. Good practices ensure you control the key without exposing it. We'll go through this list, expanding on each one with analogies, like I said, and actionable tips. Start by treating this like a learning to drive. Master the rules before hitting the highway. First up, number one is education. Educate yourself thoroughly before buying, because you don't want that process to be tainted, right? Education is how you're going to hold or hodl through the dips. Education builds conviction. Dive into reliable resources like Bitcoin.org. That's a great one. Books such as, we all know this one, Bitcoin Standard, which I highly recommend. One I'm going through right now is Mastering Bitcoin by Andreas Antonopoulos. This is the 3rd edition, and it's been great. It's a little technical because it's more about, programming, coding on Bitcoin, but I'm still enjoying it. There's also tons of free courses and YouTube content like mine. And if you're looking for direct tutorials on how to buy, wallet setups, go to BTC Sessions. There is none better. He is top notch. Building that education will help you understand the basics. Bitcoin runs on a blockchain, a public ledger of transactions secured by math and miners. Your wallet holds private keys, so long random numbers that sign transactions, and public addresses like a bank account for receiving funds. It's like learning to cook. Read recipes first, or you'll burn or mess up the meal. Skip the hype from TikTok influencers. Stick to facts and avoid FOMO buys during pumps. Understanding the basics is important. Just remember, no matter what happens with price, the fundamentals of Bitcoin doesn't change. The price doesn't affect the core or the code, right? The code is written in stone. It's enforced by this entire ecosystem of nodes and miners and all the energy that requires to keep the ecosystem running and safe. None of that changes when the price dips, right? None of that is tied to what it means to somebody when they want to sell their Bitcoin. And in my opinion, the plebs like you and I are the ones that are stacking, and we're growing each day. Just keep stacking, plebs. Just keep going. Another reason why education is super important is because you start to see massive dips as buying opportunities. The more Bitcoin you have today versus yesterday is a good thing. And if you can get that on a discount, the better, right? Like I said, the fundamentals don't change, just the price tag does. And just think of it, every time the Bitcoin drops, it's like a sale. It's like getting a bargain on it. If your goal is one Bitcoin, make sure you're DCAing, going a little harder on those dips because you know where it's going. We all know where it's going, right? Anyways, moving on. Number 2, choose reputable platforms for your purchases. And this one is super, super important. Don't buy from random apps or strangers, and don't buy from old coin casinos like Coinbase. I know a lot of people started out there. I started out there, but I quickly saw that every week they were suggesting to buy a new altcoin here or there, and it is just terrible. In my opinion, Coinbase can do much better for this world as a whole if they just focused on Bitcoin instead of having all these altcoins that they keep pumping out and legalizing gambling, right? It is so crazy. Anyways, ones I do suggest is finding Bitcoin only exchanges like Swan. Personally, I have had amazing experiences with Swan, and that's awesome. This is not sponsored by Swan. I wish it was. Another one is River, Strike, and Bull, which is another one I use. Even though I've suggested these, do your own research. That's a huge thing in Bitcoin. Do your own research, is educating yourself. Do the background check on these apps or these applications, these exchanges, and find out for yourself why they have such good reputations. Make sure they have good reputations and regulatory compliance. Check their security histories on sites like CoinMarketCap or Reddit. Those are great places. In 2026, with more regulations, look for platforms with proof of reserve audits. Not always needed when you're on those Bitcoin only sites. But yeah, just get into the habit of doing your own research, which I'm currently doing on Quantum. It's like shopping at a trusted store versus a back alley vendor. Reputable ones have great reputations. Number 3, like I was saying before, start small and dollar cost average, DCA. Begin with tiny amounts. The amazing thing with Bitcoin is you can buy fractions of a Bitcoin. You can buy literally $10, $5 if you want. Learn how to hold it without stress. Use a DCA, buy it monthly, a fixed dollar amount, $10, $15, $20. And in a couple of years, I guarantee you'll be surprised what your stack size is. I remember seeing a report, and it was saying that on average, people who DCA over a 4-year period have never been in losses. And also, tools like Swan Bitcoin or Strike have automated DCAs, which is nice, right? You can just set it and forget it. Set your automatic buys every month with a specific amount, and you don't even have to do the legwork after that. Number 4, enable multi-factor authentication everywhere on all your devices. Use apps like Google Authenticator or Authy, whichever one you like. Set it up on your exchange, your email, and your phone for a nice OPSEC boost. Multi-factor authentication is like adding a deadbolt on your door. Passwords are the basic lock, but this adds a second barrier that thieves can't pick easily. Multi-factor authentication, everyone. Number 5, cold storage. Master cold storage and key management. This is where we get into the heart of long-term holding. Cold storage. Move Bitcoin to cold storage immediately. If you've watched any of my videos, I'm always just harping on that. Exchanges are hot wallets. They're always online. Like a wallet in your pocket that's easy to pickpocket. Transfer your Bitcoin to a hardware wallet like Coldcard or Trezor right after buying. Some exchanges just send it automatically straight to your wallet, which is awesome. And I suggest, if you're able to, set that up. If you have, like I said, a few $100s on an exchange, your next step should be to learn how to set up your cold wallet. Like I said, BTC Sessions is amazing for that, and start sending it there. Cold wallets keep your private keys offline, which is what you want. Generate a receive address on your hardware wallet, copy it carefully, paste it into the exchange withdrawal, and confirm. Like I was saying, a lot of them have automatic straight to your wallet withdrawal options. Imagine it like this. It's like moving cash from a busy ATM to home safe, out of sight, out of hackers' reaches. Learning cold storage can be a daunting thing, and this is what I was saying about responsibility. Your first transaction should make you nervous, and this is why I'm going to come up again later in the video. Send a small amount first, 10 bucks, 5 bucks. It will cost you nothing at all. Send it, wait it for it to land in your wallet, and then send the rest, right? These are good practices. Just be safe. You are your own bank now, so you need to take the responsibility of just safe practices. All right. And closely tied is number 6, securing that seed phrase. So once you've bought your wallet, you've set it up, you've written down your 12 words, and you send Bitcoin to this cold storage, it's time to set up your security and where you're going to store it. After your wallet generates these 12 to 24 word recovery phrase, this is the master key. These are your keys, not your coins, your keys, your coins. Once you have this seed phrase and you write it down, your choice to put it on paper or metal plates like on a stamp seed, put that in a fireproof safe or a safety deposit box. Not at the bank, please. Do not store your keys at a bank. Keep it with you in your home somewhere safe. And I would suggest if you do have a safe, don't keep it in that safe. Keep it somewhere else. That's safer, right? And you can even keep them in multiple places, make copies, but never put them together and never put them anywhere that's public, right? Next is no photos, no cloud storage ever. Never, ever digitize them. When I'm talking to people about setting up a cold storage, I tell them do it in a bedroom with not a single digital electronic device in the room, right? You don't need it. The only device you need is the cold storage wallet and the paper and the pen that you're going to write down with. Don't keep a phone in there. Don't keep it on a password protector app. Don't keep it in the cloud. There have been hundreds, maybe even thousands of people who have lost everything just by this poor management, right? Never digitize your seed phrase. Those 12 to 24 words, keep them on a metal plate or paper forever. Continuing on, treat it like the combination to a vault holding your life savings. If someone gets it, they own your Bitcoin. For OPSEC, split it across multiple locations, like I said, but never keep it somewhere public. Number 7, practice privacy-focused OPSEC. Use a dedicated email for your crypto purchases. Avoid linking your real name and employ VPNs wherever you can. I know in some countries they're going after people who are using VPNs, which is scary. OPSEC is like wearing a disguise in a crowd. Bitcoin's blockchain is public, so don't let your transactions scream, hey, here's all my Bitcoin. Building on that, let's amp up your defenses. Number 8, verify addresses and transactions manually. Always check, and triple check addresses before sending them. You never know where malware could be, right? And they can swap them via clipboard hijacking when you're busy copy pasting addresses. If you are going to copy paste an address when you're sending or receiving, double check it. When you send a transaction from a cold storage device, it will always ask you to verify on the last step before sending it again. Use block explorers like Blockchair or Blockchain Explorer to watch for confirmations. For big moves, like I said before, send a test transaction, a very small amount, wait for it to land, and then send the rest. That's how you know everything checks out. It's like double checking a wire transfer number. One typo, and your money vanishes into thin air. Number 9, diversify storage and avoid single points of failure. Don't keep everything in one wallet. This is a very good practice. Split across multiple devices. I suggest having multiple cold storage wallets. Keep your long-term holding stack on one of them, and then another one if you wanted to make purchases or sends every couple months on a different one, right? If you want to go advanced, set up a multisig, which we'll cover in a little bit. It's like putting your eggs in one basket. We all know the saying. Spread them like a smart farmer. If a fox raids one, the others are still safe, and you still get to eat. Finally, number 10, stay vigilant and update regularly. Follow communities on X for threats and alerts. Update your wallet firmware from official sites only. Fake updates and fake sites are out there all the time, and they're phishing and baiting. They're just waiting for somebody to make make a mistake. Security is like car maintenance. Regular checkups prevent breakdowns on the road. These practices turn Bitcoin from a gamble into a secure asset. At times, it may seem daunting, but if you're serious about taking your financial sovereignty in and putting it into your own hands, taking it away from the bank, then please just educate yourself and follow some best practices like I've mentioned here. In 2026, with quantum whispers and regulatory shifts, cold storage and OPSEC alone aren't optional. They're your shield. But remember, Bitcoin thrives on community. Share these tips with your friends. Once you feel comfortable, maybe show somebody else how to do it. If you know they're not in cold storage completely, or if you know a family member who's holding and maybe you're concerned about their setup. No more solo wolves. This is another reason for this channel. Build a united front of educated holders. If you can educate somebody else, then that is just amazing. If we adapt together, Bitcoin remains the ultimate escape hatch. So that was the rundown of some best practices, and I hope it equips you and newcomers with the tools to buy and hold Bitcoin confidently. Start with education and small buys. Lock in your cold storage and your OPSEC and stay vigilant. Never digitize anything that has to do with your cold storage. Your sats will thank you later. Now, with that top 10 locked in, here are a few bonus best practices for a little bit more advanced holder. These build directly on cold storage and OPSEC, adding resilience against bigger threats like coercion, loss of life, or advanced attacks. Bonus number 1, implement a multisig wallets for larger holdings. So, if you're following the steps earlier and you're splitting your holdings into multiple wallets, the wallet that you want to use for a long-term holding, set up a multisig on it. Once your stack gets serious, like I was saying, single key wallets become a single point of failure. Multisig requires multiple private keys to sign a transaction, like needing 2 out of 3 keys to open a safe. Popular setups, 2 out of 3, 1 key on hardware, 1 with a trusted service like Casa, and 1 in a safe location, or 3 out of 5 for more redundancy. I do not suggest that. Tools like Electrum, Sparrow Wallet, or services from Unchained or Casa make this straightforward. It's like splitting up your house keys among family members. No one person can empty the vault alone, even under duress, which is important because those attacks are happening a lot more. Start simple, practice with small amounts to test recovery. Bonus number 2, plan for inheritance, a dead man's switch, like I was saying before. Bitcoin doesn't care if you're around forever. Plan who gets your sats if something happens. Use tools like Casa's inheritance features or set up a dead man's switch with a time-locked transaction or trusted third parties holding that info. Write clear instructions with your seed details or multisig configuration stored separately from the keys to your wallet. Include a lawyer or notary for legal backing if you want. Think of it as writing your will for a digital gold. Without this, your family could lose everything. If they can't access it, all that holding would have been for nothing. Do this early. It's emotional, but essential. Same thing with Worlds. Make sure this is set up. Make sure your partner knows about it. If something were to happen to you, heaven forbid, you don't want them stranded. All that work, all that education done for nothing, right? Bonus number 3, go air-gapped for ultimate cold storage. Most wallets, like a Trezor, would usually connect to your desktop via an app. They're generally pretty secure, but if you wanted the ultimate security, go fully air-gapped with something like a cold card. Take cold storage even further with fully air-gapped devices, hardware wallets, or computers that have literally never touched the internet. That's what we want. These air-gapped wallets use QR codes and micro SDs for transactions and so on. It's like keeping your treasure in a vault on the moon. All hacks are pretty much impossible at that point. It's great for hodlers, combined with a metal seed backups in dispersed secure spots. Fireproof safety deposits, boxed in different locations. Remember, nowhere public. Bonus number 4, using passphrases. Most wallets support an extra passphrase. Think of it as like a 13th or 25th word on top of your seed phrase, your keys. These create hidden wallets. If someone forces your seed out of you, you give them the basic with tiny funds, keeping the real stack secret. But this is also why I say spread it across multiple different cold storages. Think of it like a false bottom in a suitcase. Thieves think they've got it all, but the valuables are hidden deeper. Use strong, memorable passphrases. Practice recovery. Don't enter a passphrase that you're going to forget one day. Make sure you write it down. Keep it with your keys. Bonus number 5, regular security drills and inheritance testing. Treat security like fire drills, orderly, stimulate recovery, restore a test wallet from seed metal backup, as multisig signing, verify addresses. For inheritance, run through the full process with a trusted family member, like I was saying before. Pilots train on emergencies so muscle memory kicks in when things get crazy. Same here. When panics hits you, you won't fumble. Nothing is worse than thinking that you've lost your funds just because you're entering in something wrong, right? These bonuses aren't mandatory for beginners, but as you stack more sats and Bitcoin becomes a core part of your wealth, layering them in makes you anti-fragile. In 2026, with rising institutional interest and evolving threats, self-custody with these extra steps is what separates confident holders from nervous ones. I remember when I first started getting all mine set up, I was just nervous all the time, wondering who's going to hack my few $100s of Bitcoin every single day. Now that we've covered all these little tips and tricks and essentials, start with the basics. Build the habits, build the education before layering in the more advanced practices. Like I said, an online exchange is okay for temporary, very short-term durations. If you're buying Bitcoin, the only time it is truly yours is when it's in a cold storage. Just remember that, right? Eventually, your goal should be to put everything in cold storage, preferably multiple devices, but build up there. Start with one. Set up the multisig. Send it around to multiple devices. Practice setting up your safety. Put it in secure fire safety bags and security boxes. And remember, never public, never digitized. So now that we're there, what is your favorite? Let me know if you're watching this. I'm still relatively new with 5 subscribers. I'm not sure if anybody will actually get to this point in the video, but if you are, drop it in the comments below. Let me know if there's anything I missed, anything you have questions about. I'm open and very reachable, I should say. If you have questions, let me know. I'm here to help. Like I said, start with the education. Share with a friend who's stacking sats. Help them out. This is what it's all about. We're going to create the Bitcoin ecosystem stronger with educated Bitcoin maxis, not the toxic ones. And before I wrap up, I just wanted to say Bitcoin security should be taken very seriously. We've all seen and heard just horror stories of people losing everything, trusting things like password managers and cloud storages and stuff like that. Bitcoin is taking the money and sending it into the future, but you're securing it via an analog setup. Just think of it like that. All right. And like I said, if you have questions, reach out. I'm always here. You can let me know if you have questions or if you need help setting up a wallet or want suggestions on wallets, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching. And like I always say, if you're going to buy Bitcoin, send it to cold storage. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.